Good morning. This is 1 in 36, a presentation from Anderson Center for Autism, celebrating their centennial in 2024. 1 in 36 is a weekly show devoted to autism spectrum disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and I'm the Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And today I'm really happy to be speaking with somebody that we're getting to know better and better, and look forward to getting to know even more as we go into the future. Stuart Culver, who is the Director of Construction Management with Guth DeConzo. Stuart, good morning. Thanks for being on the show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. The first and foremost, I want to thank you and the entire Guth DeConzo team for sponsoring our recent, very successful, in fact, record-breaking annual golf outing, which occurred back in June. We often use this platform to just do whatever we can to say thank you and to highlight the sponsors who help make that event so successful. So I just want to put that out there that you stepped up as recently getting to know Anderson and immediately supported that event. And we appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. And we absolutely appreciate everything that you guys are doing for the autism community.
Well, awesome. There's a lot of appreciation going on. I think we should give you a chance to get into, what you do and tell us a little bit more about the company, and then we'll get into what we're doing together.
So we are Guth DeConzo Construction Management. We're a small, privately held CM firm that specializes in certain types of projects which most mainstream firms don't engage in. And those projects are typically either technically complex, logistically challenging, or they have something about them that is inherently unique, which makes them difficult for a firm to take on, frankly.
Okay. And so give us the context for that. Somewhere along the line, yourself and other sort of leaders in Guth DeConzo made a specific decision, I would think, to go in that direction. Was it to fill a gap that you saw? Was it a purely strategic business decision, or is there something deeper there in terms of doing that as opposed to more of the mainstream projects that don't have some of those maybe unique challenges?
Actually, we kind of lucked into it, to be quite frank with you.
Mm-hmm.
We've dipped our toe into the mainstream construction management marketplace, and we really haven't been successful. And that's not because of how we do business, but more so our personnel who are more geared towards their thinkers, their problem solvers. And your typical construction management project doesn't have a lot of problems that need to be solved. It just the process needs to be followed. So the types of things we get into is, how do you logistically make this happen in a tight, confined space, or, where you're working in an active hospital and you're trying to build a power plant, and how do you simulate a natural disaster, which is what the power plant's essentially being created to do. The Anderson dilemma, for lack of a better term, or problem which needs a solution is the Dellenwood residence building is being constructed on basically a rock outcropping. So there's 5,000 cubic yards of rock which need to be removed. How do you do that in a special needs community where a lot of the typical ways that you would remove rock, whether it's chipping, blasting, things like that, might not be, at our disposal here? We need to be aware of the community that we're working in and aware of the things that, are critical to that working environment. And that's what really the appeal that brought us to it. I mean, overall difficulty-wise, it's not a difficult building, but removing that much rock in such close proximity to a special needs community is like, okay, guys, this is right up our alley. Let's go get this. So
I love that. That's a great explanation, and also leads into the project that you're specifically working with Anderson on, which is the construction of our new Dellenwood, which eventually may have a new name, but for right now we're calling it New Dellenwood because it is designed to replace an existing building called Dellenwood, which goes back quite a ways in the history of the Anderson campus. And you can read more about this project and learn more about it as we move forward with it. But it's exciting. It's going to be a state-of-the-art professional training building site. Is also going to, as you mentioned, going to be serve as a residence for some individuals. It's going to have a lot to do with some of the training that we're expanding on in terms of helping professionals in other fields, for instance, dental and medical, become more adept and expert level sort of service providers when working with the population that we serve, which leads into what you were also saying. Anderson Center for Autism serves really highly complex individuals. We are a mostly residential campus with many students living right there, not necessarily 5 feet away from where you're going to be working, but certainly
Almost
on the same campus. And so I just want to say, I've worked at Anderson for now almost 18 years, and on behalf of everyone who comes there every day, and the families who send their children here, and the children themselves, the appreciation that we have for anyone who recognizes that the students live there, and that it's not, and not only do students live there, but we're also serving a population of people who, by and large, are not going to manage and be able to sort of just say, well, it's going to be loud for a couple of weeks and we'll be fine. It's potentially going to be sensory overload. It might be so exciting and intriguing that it's difficult to stay away from the site, which creates potential problems for everybody and challenges. So we love and we seek out partners in this type of work who have an immediate recognition for where you are, not just what you're doing. So I wanted to kind of shout out to you and your team for that. We really require that with anybody that we're working with on campus. So give us your expertise. I love the fact that you've got problem solvers, and from a business perspective, that's really cool that you look for projects that correspond with the skill set that you're attracting in terms of who works there. How do you move that amount of stone and rock with having some level of limited access and not just like this huge plot where nobody else is? How do you do that?
So there are chemicals out there which you can actually drill into the rock, and you insert the chemical into there and it will expand and it will basically break the rock up. So it's called a non-percussion, non-invasory type of excavation, but you just basically will drill holes into the rock. You put this chemical in there, the chemical will expand, it'll break the rock up into little itty bitty pieces. You load it on a truck and away it goes. And you just keep doing this over and over and over again. So,
wow. I did not know that.
Listen, the other scenario is you bring in 2 relatively large excavators, you put 2 relatively large hammers on the end of them, and 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for probably a month on end, you're going to have dung, 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 which, probably isn't going to go over very well.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. It's going to cause a little upset.
Yeah, the other scenario is you come in and you drill into the rock, similar to what we're going to do with the chemical, and you put explosives in there and you put mats over the top of it, and you hear, everybody's boom, that's just it. And we just said, you know what, that's probably not the best solution here. So, the great thing about construction is you always have to come up with a way to solve the problem. The problem's always going to be the problem. You have to come up with a way to solve the problem. But you brought up another potential problem. This is something that we took into consideration. Is this, look, listen, construction's a phenomenon, and the residents at Anderson probably don't see a lot of large yellow equipment and people wearing hard hats of large numbers and things like this every single day. So the curiosity factor is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And we need to find a way to make sure that they are a part of this experience and not necessarily build a wall around it. So everybody's like, what's going on? What's going on? So we're going to utilize some different, technologies, one of them being open space, which is where we will allow our team, our staff, superintendents to walk through the job site and take a 360 degree scan of the project, of what's happening, and then put that online. So that the Anderson residents, the staff, everybody at Anderson, everybody at the outside community can see what's going on a day-to-day basis. We can't have people walking through construction sites, no matter what the phase is, just because it's not safe. Okay?
Yeah.
But we just found that this is a way to kind of like temper that curiosity factor and allow people to be a part of the process. Construction is a phenomenon. And everybody, it's funny. Everybody wants to see what's going on, no matter what you're doing. You're doing something in the road, you're doing something at a house. Everybody's always slowing down to see what's going on. And when you do something like this, which hasn't been done in a long time at Anderson, it's definitely going to bring out everybody. So rather than trying to block that, it's better to accept that, to embrace that, and allow the students and the staff to be a part of it.
I think that's great. And I love that I hadn't even really thought too much about having the opportunity to show some of the students what's going on through that open space program. But I love that because there will certainly be tremendous interest. But also on behalf of it's so in keeping with how, our belief system at Anderson too, which is transparency and making sure that people understand what's going on and have as much access as makes sense and as possible to see, although a lot of our families do not live close by and or are not going to, for safety's sake, be able to come down to the construction site. But the idea that just letting people go online and kind of see the latest phase. And then obviously for donors, we are running a capital campaign for this project. We have already received some generous donations towards it. And we want to make sure that we're also, as always, really stewarding the people who are financially helping to support this project by way of allowing them to see and have access to things as we happily utilize some of their generosity to make this happen. So I think it's going to be great overall. I got very excited about that when we first met, the idea that we could get that online. So we're looking forward to all of that. We're pretty much out of time. Stuart Culver, Director Construction Management with Guth DeConzo, excuse me. I just, again, want to thank you so much for your support at our golf outing, but also for just looking forward to this new relationship and to a successful execution and completion of the new Dellenwood project.
Absolutely. And anybody out there, very worthwhile cause, make a donation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stuart. All right. You have a great day. This is 1 in 36.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. This is 1 in 36, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and we'll be right back.
Somewhere there's a river rushing through the woods while someone rushes through their day. There's a mountain looking up at the sky while someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If I could be you,
and you could be me, for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
And now, 1 in 36 continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs program presented by the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 36, the weekly podcast on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And for this half of the show, you're going to just hear me. So get ready, folks. It's 12 minutes of thank yous and appreciation for our most recent golf classic back in June at the links at Unionvale. Once again, as in years past, it was a record-breaking year. It was a wonderful day. We seemed to luck out with the weather starting off a little rainy and then the skies just sort of brightening up right as people are arriving and getting ready to go at around 9 o'clock. And that's exactly what happened this year. It was a great day of golf. It was a great day of fundraising and really a wonderful day of spending time with individuals, families, some amazing Anderson team members, members of Anderson Family Partners, and of course, so many of our sponsors who come out to make the day really special. And on that note, I want to just spend some time doing a shout out to all of our sponsors for that day. we use this podcast for a lot of things, mainly to draw attention to interesting developments in the field and people doing really creative, innovative, impactful work in a number of areas. We also use it to highlight things going on at Anderson that are new. But we also use this as a way to say thank you and to make sure that those of you listening have a really solid understanding of how many businesses, how many people, how many decision makers, how many parents are making singular decisions every day that really make or break Anderson's events and the growth of the foundation. So here's a list of some who supported golf this year. As has been going on for many years, our media sponsor was Oldies 98.9. Our classic sponsor was the Culver family. Our Eagle sponsor, who you just heard from, Guth DeConzo, and also Solutions ATI. Birdie sponsors were Day Seckler, Hudson Valley Magazine, McCarthy's Pharmacy, Minico, and NFP. The food truck sponsor was the Donut Pub. Just a side note on the Donut Pub, if you have not been to the Donut Pub, which is located in New York City, go to the Donut Pub. I don't care if you like donuts or don't like donuts. You need to try one from the Donut Pub. It is a phenomenal place. Our cocktail sponsor was Page Park Associates, another longtime friend to Anderson. And our hole-in-one sponsor, again, for quite a number of years, Romeo Auto Group. I don't think anyone got a hole-in-one this year at that particular hole, but they're wonderful about coming out and supporting the event. Our corporate foursomes were Atlas Star, Connolly Engineering, Consigli Construction, EJ Electric Installation Company, Facilities Maintenance Corporation, First Columbia, the Gettleman family, Grassi & Co., Guth DeConzo Construction Management, M&O Sanitation Incorporated, M&T Bank, Minico Insurance Agency, LLC, Professional Computer Associates, Rhinebeck Bank, Solutions ATI, Station MD, Wayne Burgess. And our beverage cart sponsors, everybody's usually a fan of the beverage cart coming around. Our Bridge Specialty Group, DJ Vosberg Enterprises, Hill & Marks Incorporated, Meyer Contracting Corporation, and Rondout Savings Bank, and Veith Electric LLC. I'm going to run through those names again in a minute, but I just want to point out that a number of these, probably more than I can even count right now off the top of my head, are connected to Anderson by way of a parent. So I want to do a special thank you to, Anderson parents, grandparents, siblings who are associated with a company that is philanthropic or may even choose to be philanthropic for the first time. These are people who are going to their supervisors, going to their colleagues and saying, hey, my loved one, my child, my sister, my brother, my grandchild goes to Anderson and is doing well there, and I'd like you to consider sponsoring their event. That takes a lot, and it's not something that everybody's comfortable doing. And we really want to say a thank you to anybody who has, on behalf of their own loved one at Anderson, gone to one of these companies and just advocated for them to sponsor our events. We recognize that that's not always easy, and that you're going above and beyond, to support not only your own child, but every child and adult at Anderson by way of supporting the entire organization. So that's really special. A number of these also are connected to current and former trustees. Anderson Center for Autism has a few boards. We have the Anderson Center for Autism Board of Trustees. We also have the Anderson Foundation for Autism Board of Trustees. And the members of those boards are volunteers. Some of them are parents, but many of them are not. And most of them are employed professionally in local businesses, maybe own their own business, and are somehow affiliated with the organization, mostly because they're looking to volunteer at an organization that is doing work that resonates with them in some way or another. And I can't say, enough about the trustees who, again, pledge their own support through their own business or encourage colleagues and people that they know in their circle to support these events. And I'm looking through these names. Again, there's a number that I think are coming to the table because either they have an employee or an owner who is a member of our board, or maybe they want to encourage some of their younger maybe employees to consider exploring board service, or they used to, and they're just sticking with us and supporting us throughout the years. It's notable to say, because I know now it's been a couple of years since we were really deep in COVID, but it's really important to remind people that we didn't see nearly the hit that a lot of other nonprofits saw during COVID and in the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of the pandemic when it came to our fundraising events. In fact, we were stunned and really just touched by how even when we had to full out cancel events, or change them so dramatically that there was really no personal interaction for obvious reasons at both our golf event and our gala event, our sponsors still came out to the table. They still supported us. They supported our mission, which tells me that, we have a huge number of generous and really thoughtful, like-minded people out there who are supporting our work. And it also tells me that Anderson itself and my team in particular, our development office and our communications team that runs our fundraising events, is doing a great job at making sure that our sponsors really recognize and understand what you're doing when you sponsor an event and how important that is, regardless of whether we're able to show you a great, in-person golf event or a great in-person gala, or if we have to kind of pivot like everybody did during that time. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and point that out, because almost all of the names that I'm reading out here in terms of our sponsors this year have sponsored every year, or at least for many years, and also did not leave when they were probably struggling a little bit too during the pandemic. They stuck with us, and that really is important to make sure that everybody knows. So once again, I'm going to run down our list of sponsors for our 2024 golf outing, which occurred in June. It was record-breaking in terms of fundraising and also just a great day all around. So thanks again to our media sponsor, Oldies 98.9, our classic sponsor, the Kohler family, our Eagle sponsors, Guth, DeConzo, and Solutions ATI. Our birdie sponsors, Day Seckler, Hudson Valley Magazine, McCarthy's Pharmacy, Minico, and NFP. Our food truck sponsor, The Donut Pub. Our cocktail sponsor, Page Park Associates. Our hole-in-one sponsor, Romeo Auto Group. And then again, to all of our corporate foursomes. This year, that was Atlas Star, Connolly Engineering, Consigli Construction, EJ Electric Installation Company, Facilities Maintenance Corporation, First Columbia, the Gettleman family, Grassi & Co., Guth DeConzo Construction Management, M&O Sanitation Incorporated, M&T Bank, Minico Insurance Agency, LLC, Professional Computer Associates, Rhinebeck Bank, Solutions ATI, Station MD, and Wayne Burgess. And of course, last but not least, by any means, our beverage card sponsors, keeping everybody hydrated, no matter what you were choosing to hydrate with that day. Bridge Specialty Group, DJ Vosberg Enterprises, Hill & Marks Incorporated, Meyer Contracting Corporation, Rondout Savings Bank, Veith Electric LLC. And I would certainly be remiss if I failed to mention our friends at the Links at Unionvale. We've been having our tournament there for the last many years. It's always been great. They're a pleasure to work with. Personally, I think things just keep getting better, and look forward to doing that again in 2025. And we're already starting the initial phases of planning that one. And again, all of the other people who came out that day to support. So not just our sponsors, but everybody who bought an individual ticket, people who came just for dinner, the companies that donated items for auctions and raffles, our members of Anderson Family Partners, who are an amazing group of families who come out and help us sell swag and basically are willing and happy and excited to talk to the people coming out to support the event, who may not know a whole lot about autism specifically, or may have just, had the opportunity to speak with a parent who can come out and publicly and personally say, thank you, because my child is benefiting from your generosity. They're there every year, and we love them and appreciate them so much. The amazing team members from Anderson who come out and make it a really personable event, and also just are hard at work making sure the event runs smoothly. And a shout out, of course, to the team I get to work with every day, our development department. We call ourselves the development squad, and we really are a squad. We try to do everything we possibly can to make the day really fabulous and smooth for everybody. The people who came out and brought out our amazing food truck, our ice cream truck, that was there this year. It really does take all of these different people and a whole lot more to make the event successful. So we thank everybody who is involved, and we look forward to seeing you all out on the course again in 2025. So with that, thank you to all of our sponsors, and I hope everybody has a great day. This is 1 in 36, the weekly podcast on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 36, a weekly presentation from Anderson Center for Autism, celebrating their centennial in 2024. Join them for another edition of the show next weekend.